Hi everyone. All right, and now we have Sparkleghost, a funny little ghost tuber.
I
But why don't you
guess.
introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I am Sparkleghost. I'm a funny little ghost, as stated. I live inside a computer that is kind of old by you guys' standards, but you guys are picky. Um, I draw, I model, I stream game, I eat hot chip, and I lie sometimes.
Alright, well, starting off with, I feel like a first and a very good way to introduce this, I guess. What interests you, and why did you choose to become a VTuber?
Um, I saw a few of my friends start it, and I found it very interesting to have like a little avatar of yourself. And I started like having some ideas for it. Like, um, my avatar started. The idea behind my avatar started behind a random username that I picked. So I was like, I could do something with that. Then I stopped thinking about it for a while. But the idea started growing more and more in my head of like this digital entity that I am. Um, I started doodling it more and even having ideas for UI for the OBS overlay. And eventually I was born like this.
Okay. Oh, you got little hands.
I do. And feet. Feet are obvious, but
Well, I mean, obviously, because this is focusing on people who have made their own models, but let's see. I guess how was the process for you of like designing and then making and rigging your own model?
um so I knew nothing of live 2D when I started. Uh but I found it very interesting that you could like rig um um basically a 2D picture to be animated so fluidly like this. So I started looking into it, and eventually I just picked up the trial. Actually, I drew before, then I started the live 2D trial, and I made this. Um, I think it's I think it's so interesting. It's just like it's so fluid, and you can make so many cool things with even with the limitations that the program has. Um, but concept wise and everything, it's what I said. Like I had Sparkleghost as a username, and I just worked around that.
Hmm.
I was gonna be a lot scarier. The beginning was very scary.
Ooh, what do you mean, like scarier?
Um, so it was basically like same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I had a sheet over my head, but everything else was just darker. So instead of a face like what I have now, very cartoony,
Mm-hmm.
very cute, I had basically drawings of expressions on the sheet, and that's
Mm-hmm.
not too bad. But at the bottom of the sheet, you would see like semi-transparent, some bones and guts hanging out.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was kind of hardcore. I was like, maybe I should tone down a little bit.
That's fair. I mean, hey, there are some like people who are very like they're horror tubers.
It's true. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to be out with that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like horror.
Mm-hmm.
Um so so I was down to do that. I might still do that actually. Some experimental thing. But I I really like when it's like really cute. There's nothing threatening about like some design, and then you
Mm-hmm.
start like messing with it slightly. Um which can happen sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know.
Whoa. I like that. All right. Well, moving on to I guess what led you to like obviously other than maybe just drawing your model, but what led you to just like doing all the rigging yourself rather than like commissioning someone else who does rigging?
The most obvious and most important one is money. Um, I don't have a lot of it. I'm comfortable, but
Yeah.
it's it's not. I cannot spend a lot of money on a luxury like that, and I
Mm-hmm.
think riggers deserve to be paid because it's stuff. But also, like, I like learning new programs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in my area of work and interest to learn something like this. So I just watched a bunch of tutorials, and I was like, I can kind of get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically tweening. It's I've done tweening before, so it wasn't too hard to catch the concepts. And trial was 42 days. It's just enough to make a model.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm not sure exactly, but I think you've dabbled in 3D. Is that if that's correct?
Yes. Um, Again, because I don't have a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
and I needed a 3D model.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I actually have a 3D model of myself, but that
Ooh.
one I commissioned.
Ah.
Um, because I wasn't like I didn't know how
Mm-hmm.
all of this could work in 3D, and so I asked someone to do it for a VR chat. But I'm in a live action uh virtual chat role play
Ooh.
um a group called the Undivide, and I'm a character there.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
my character is very the body type is very non-conventional. Like, he's a troll, like he's huge,
Ooh.
and uh has tusks and horns and what have you. So I couldn't find anything close to it online that I could, like, Frankenstein into a model.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to just basically do it myself. And actually, it's very fun. I already knew 3D from university and a bit from work,
Mm-hmm.
but I never tried doing something like that. And it was a very interesting project. I actually was playing it yesterday.
Oh, that's cool. Hope you had fun.
Yeah.
um. All right. Well, do you have like any like other model makers who inspired you?
Definitely Spatula and cacoetic art. I'm
Ooh.
biased because they're my friends too. Uh, but I really find it interesting that they really care about the program, and they both really try to, like, do different things that people usually don't do. Um, Cacoetic has like an entire freaking hat rigged in live 2D, like a baseball cap, and that's great because
Mm.
that's really hard. That's surprisingly hard to do in live 2D, and also a very good a furry head rotation that I've seen people start picking up on, but he managed to do it way before a lot of those people. And Spats is always trying to, like,
Mm-hmm.
improve her work, and always, like, has new ideas for how to rig things, and both the designs and the rigging looks great. Even like holograms and sparkles and everything. It's just, it all looks so good. I I kind of want to pick Life 2D again, but between work and roleplay and streaming,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather focus on 3D right now because it's more relevant to me. But
Mm-hmm.
every time that I see them, I, like, get sparkle eye. I wanna do it. They're so cool. Yeah, it's mostly those two.
No, that's very fair. I 100% should get that. All right. Well, what are some challenges you have faced with model making?
Um, so I said I watched some tutorials, right? But I never all the tutorials that I saw were something that were, like, made for specific types of anime faces, and
Mm-hmm.
my design is kind of unconventional. So I had a lot of problems adapting it, um, both for this model and actually my 3D model, both because they're kind of unconventional. This one, the hardest part was the eyes actually. Um,
Hmm.
both the shape because like they're that like this round shape that kind of has to fold in the middle. Um, but also like the eye depth, which seems fine from some angles, but I messed it up from others. It's a very subtle thing, but I can see it and it
Mm-hmm.
bothers me.
I get that.
um, with the 3D, it was because like I made a troll. I made like like a little monster. Like he's handsome, but he's a troll. So like there's tusks
Mm-hmm.
and things that are a bit unconventional that I had to learn basically how to do without a tutorial because like there's there's not really anything with tusks online. People either like make very small tusks or just put it inside the mouth, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, but those challenges are fun to fight through. Otherwise, I wouldn't be modeling. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have finished the model to begin with
Mm-hmm.
if they weren't interesting.
I mean, I get that because I guess like I mean you probably already said it, but like some stuff you've learned from all your challenges with making models and rigging.
hmm Um, I hmm, that's interesting. I'm not sure like what I learned exactly that wasn't just in the in the making itself. Like I learned as I go.
Mm-hmm.
So I in Live 2D I just learned how to do more Live 2D. Um, but I didn't take any knowledge outside from that.
Mm-hmm.
But in 3D, I learned that um, school sucks, and they should have my school sucked, and they should have a better 3D program because I will never ever ever do anything with 3ds Max ever again. I think they should have taught me Blender, and they should
Ah.
have taught me how to do UVs because I there's so many better programs out there for game designers that aren't 3ds Max. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
learned. I
Ah.
know it sounds like very angry, but I just think that Blender's a blessing and it's free. And I
Yeah.
love open source programs.
Yeah.
But I haven't learned anything deep aside from that. But I'm very a smooth brain too. So
I guess. What are I guess what do you feel like the differences for you between 2D and 3D?
mostly that I actually went on a rant like a month or so ago about different types of VTubers. Um, I think all are valid. Even if you are a PNG tuber, you're valid.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that people can do with even PNGs or like gift tubers. Like if you have a very strong concept, if you have like a, a very good idea, you can basically do pick any of those options, even if they look quote unquote cheap to do your streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in that regard, of what you should choose, like which one's better between those options, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there is any good one option. However, I think the biggest difference between 3D and 2D is that um, 2D can look a bit more consistent in
Mm-hmm.
the way that it's stylized, um, because like it's one picture and like you can basically basically adjust like shadows and everything yourself instead of relying on a shader and the lighting of a certain program. But with 3D, you have like a lot more mobility, and you can even like insert yourself in some programs like VR chat, or even put yourself on Beat Saber and whatever. Um, there's I think it depends on what you want to do more than the the output itself. Um, so just follow your dreams, everyone. I think I think that's really it with the differences. Um,
All right. Well, I guess.
sorry, yeah.
You're fine. You're fine. I guess. Well, I know you. Well, you spoke about it a bit, but like, I know you said it was influenced from your username, but I guess was there like, I don't know, either another model or like a character or something that inspired your models, or I guess design specifically.
I have a mood board of characters that I looked at, but there wasn't like a specific existing character. It's more like designs that people did that I got a few inspirations from. But it's basically Japanese mascots, some cartoons as well. I basically search more like figurines more than anything. But yeah, like something iconic, stylized, and based on ghosts and sparkles. Mostly ghosts. That was basically the thing that I was looking for the most. But yeah, like I said, my earlier design was way more realistic, so it was. I just wanted to make ghosts first of all, and then adapt to everything else.
Okay. What are some memorable experiences that you've had, being in the VTuber community?
I think I was very moved by the support that I had at the beginning, because I hung out with a few streamers before, and when I started doing it myself, seeing them come to my stream and supporting me with raids and whatever, that really moved me. I was very happy. I wasn't expecting all that, honestly. And like I started last year on my birthday, so seeing everyone there for my birthday was extra good. So yeah, like the first few streams were my favorite. It's not that the other ones were bad, it's just that they made such an impact on me.
Yeah, I definitely can get that. Alright. I guess these two can kind of go like hand in hand, but like stuff that you found like challenging being a VTuber, like what has that been for you?
Keeping a consistent schedule, but that's not so much with VTubing, but it's more that I'm VTubing while I have a full-time job, and also have lots of passions outside of streaming. Audio sucks. I don't understand how it works. And OBS sometimes. Like, I have no idea what's wrong with that program sometimes. I think sometimes it just hates me. I have no idea why it sometimes, like, even puts alerts through my speakers instead of my headphones. Like, it's mostly technical issues that I deal with. I have a screen for technical issues that I made before I started streaming. Like, I was like, this is a funny screen. I'm gonna put it every time that I am having issues. But it's consistent. Sometimes I would test things like before streaming, and then when I pressed start streaming, there would be problems. Like, I'm just cursed. I'm a ghost and I'm cursed and I hate it.
I guess then, like, the opposition to that, I know you've spoken about it a bit, but just VTubing itself, what do you, like, enjoy most about it?
Mostly, yeah, what I said at the beginning, that I'm showing myself as a cute little guy. I don't particularly care for my flesh visage. I like this more. Not that I hate the flesh or anything. I just really, really like being a cute little guy online.
Yeah.
And talking with people like this. I think it's way more fun.
Yeah, it's fun to just be a little guy.
Yeah. I just love it.
Well, I guess, how was, like, people's reaction to your character, like, fan reaction?
I heard a lot of good things. People would just come in and say, "Oh, you're so cute," and I'd be like, "Thank you. That's so kind." What surprised me the most, though, was people telling me that they liked my voice, because I had a lot of people pick on my voice when I was younger. So I'm so glad that people like it now. It's very comforting for my younger self.
Mm-hmm. Well, you deserve that, and I do think your voice is great.
No, thank you.
I guess the last thing would be just, like, really leaving it off with, I know you mentioned it a bit, but, like, any other advice for people kind of starting out and trying to figure out how to make a model, get into the community?
Okay. I know a lot of people aren't artists, so a lot of people will feel like commissioning is the way, but honestly, there's so many resources out there. Before you commit to paying for something, I think you should try making one yourself. Both Blender and Live 2D sound very hard. They're not as hard as you're imagining. However, you can also use programs like Vroid and even just making pictures on Picrew and using that as PNGs can go a long way. You should try streaming first before diving head in and just spending a lot of money on something that you might not even like, because that's the most important thing. But if you really want to make your own model, just watch tutorials. Like, there's so many free content. I learned it from I learned 3D from the Rain VR chat Blender tutorials. They're very good. I really recommend it. It's more focused on anime characters, but I really recommend that. Just put VR chat Blender on YouTube, you'll find her. Okay. And for Live 2D, I don't have specific resources because I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, but I recommend checking out Spatula channel, because she streams doing Live 2D pretty much all the time. And even like the entire process, so like from drawing all the layers to the finished product. So you can learn a lot from that. But yeah, either try free resources first, or try making it yourself, because it's not that hard.
Well, thank you very much. I do really appreciate your time and, just everything you talked about. Learning about people's experiences and yours, and, you're also, I just love your model because you're just a funny little guy.
Thank you.
All right. Go bye.
Yeah.